Mm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Laraine Durham, and I've lost over 50 pounds using Tirzepatide. And this is our series called the Downsized Dish, where we talk to people who have also lost weight on a GLP-1 medication. That's medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjaro, Zepbound, semaglutide, Tirzepatide. And before we get started, I'd just like to let everybody know that I'm not a doctor. I'm just a regular person in the suburbs in North Carolina who's lost weight using a GLP-1 medication. And I like talking to other people and seeing how their journey has been with a GLP-1 medication and seeing what we can learn from each other. I hope that you will like and subscribe to our channel, The Downsized. My husband Christopher and I have made lots of videos, I think over 3 or 400 now, talking about Christopher says 500. Excuse me. Over 500 videos talking about our weight loss journey, talking to other people, talking to doctors, and various topics. Today we have with us Diane. Welcome to the Downsized Dish, Diane. Downsized Dish,
Mhm.
Diane. Some alliteration. How are you this
Thank you.
morning, Diane?
I'm great. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Diane, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I live in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm married almost 50 years. It's 49 this July.
Oh,
I have two daughters. I won't say their ages, but they're in their 40s. They're both independent, very well adjusted women. And I have been a teacher, a math teacher, statistics teacher, actuary, college professor. And I have numerous hobbies, music and art and different sewing, knitting, all kinds of things to keep me busy.
awesome. Awesome. Wow. Statistics. So I bet do you keep a lot of charts and graphs on
Got
your
a
weight
lot of,
loss?
yeah, got a lot of data.
Awesome. Awesome. Another data person. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, well, what kind of, well, let's start with the basics. How much weight have you lost?
Yeah, I didn't say, but I'm 73.
Okay.
And I've lost 93 pounds, around 93 pounds. Sometimes it's 95. My husband and I have looked at some of my pictures, and we think that I've probably lost 100 pounds or more since I was at my heaviest. So
Oh, okay.
it's not my first time, and I'll explain all that when we go through the weight loss journey.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the pictures. Let's just go ahead and throw those up there and take a look and see. Tell us about these pictures, Diane.
Um, I, the one on the left, I'm the president of our HOA, and my husband and I developed a park in our neighborhood, and that
Nice.
was kind of the christening of the park. I'm sitting there on a bench, and
Mhm.
the middle one, uh, I don't even remember when that was taken, but I included it because you can see how big I was. And the one on the right was probably from 2017. I'd actually lost some weight there, so
Mhm.
it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But they're all from the okay. And that one on the left is my heaviest. That was
Wow.
2002, June 2002.
Mhm.
Um, that was a bad year for me. My dog died in January. I got COVID in April, and I was
Oh,
sick for over a month.
mm.
I went to the emergency room twice, and that's the result of a really very bad year so far. And then I
Wow.
decided once I saw that picture that I had to lose some weight. So I did
Mm.
lose a little there, but the picture on the right is when I reached my first goal weight of 125 pounds in October. And I started in
Wow.
March 2024. So that was October 2024. And I didn't even have any clothes. So you can't even see how thin I was. But um, tell me when you want me to stop. I can start at the beginning. Up here I am, February 2025, and that's pretty much the way I look now. And
Wow.
that was on yeah, it's shocking, isn't it? I'm on my family ski trip, and thank you, Christopher, for fixing those photographs. My family was on both sides of me, and for the first time in my life, not the first time, but for a long time, I was proud of the way I looked, and I can't tell you how good I felt because I was able to do things on that trip that I hadn't been able to do on all the other family ski trips. And since then, um, I just have been adding things to my agenda of things to do. So,
Wow. I mean, that's you can definitely see a big difference in that picture with the denim dress to
mhm.
now. It's I mean, that picture is, definitely, amazing. I'd say you'd lost
Yeah,
well over 100 pounds from that weight. How
from
tall
that,
are you, Diane?
I'm 5'2".
5'2"?
So
Okay, so
used
not
to be
tall.
5'4". Used to be five
Oh,
four.
oh,
I shrunk, but that happens when you get to be my age. And
yeah,
yeah, so I've been going with the 5'2" for my goal weight, and I'm very, very small boned, very uh, small frame. We used to think about that back in the day when we dieted, and
yep.
um, yeah, I could look at pictures with my brother and sister and say, "Oh, I'm so much smaller than they are," and that was from birth on because I was just
Yeah.
this tiny one in the family.
Wow. So when did your, weight problem come on?
Okay. This goes way back. In 2nd grade, I had a mean teacher, and when I say mean, she wasn't mean to me, she was mean to other kids, but I was a very sensitive child, and I didn't wanna go to school, so every morning I would be sick,
Oh.
and my mother had to kind of force me to go to school, and I loved school up to that point, so it was a real shock to the whole family. I
Mhm.
made it through 2nd grade, and, when I got to 3rd grade, I was a little underweight, so everybody says, "Let's feed her," "Give her whatever she wants," and they did, and then I started associating food with comfort and love, and, I started to put on weight more than I should have, but back in those days, no one worried about it too much because when you get to puberty, oh, you'll lose it all, and, my grandmother died when I was going into 8th grade, and I was pretty big then, but I really got big, and I associate, uh, death, grieving, with weight gain,
Mm.
and so my mother put me on a diet, in spring of 8th grade. I'm going into high school, you wanna look nice, and, doctors agreed that I should lose weight, and so I did, and we were happy with my weight, and pretty much all during high school, I was able to manage my weight pretty well. I knew what I could eat and what I couldn't eat, and because I'm small, I can't eat as much as other people,
Mhm.
and that's something that you have to learn, but I would always put on weight. January 1st would come around, New Year's resolution, I'd lose weight, and so I was what people call a yo-yo dieter, and at the time, no one thought anything of it. So I had 2 pregnancies. I was 106 pounds when I got pregnant for both babies. I gained 40 pounds with the first one, 60 pounds with the second one, and was able to lose the weight after the pregnancies through hard work, watching what I eat and exercise, and, um, everything was kind of going along okay until stuff happens, and I'm gonna get emotional, I'm sorry.
Aw,
In
aw.
2001, I was diagnosed with breast cancer,
Oh my goodness.
and my sister had already been diagnosed with ovarian cancer, so they hit me hard with chemo and radiation
Mhm.
surgeries, and a lot of people lose weight during chemo. I didn't. I gained weight,
Mm.
and when stuff happens, you can't watch your diet as carefully, you can't exercise as much, and
No.
that was October 2001. Got through all the treatment. July 4th, 2002, I broke both of my ankles at the same time, and
Ow.
yeah, and so, you know, maybe we should have her bones tested. So, yeah,
Mm.
I had, some osteoporosis. I went through menopause at the same time that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, so a lot was happening,
Yeah.
and, I got spend 6 weeks in a wheelchair and you will gain you will gain weight, and I did, and, struggled then because of menopause to get rid of it, and I yo-yoed up and down again. We moved to Florida in 2004, and I at this point, I had already tried Diet Center, Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, you name it, I've been there, and they work. But I could never lose all the weight I wanted to lose.
Yeah.
And finally went to Medi Weight Loss Center, and they gave me phentermine, which
Mm.
was great. It works, you lose weight, but I got 3 speeding tickets during the 3 months I was taking it because it is speed. It's technically speed, and of course,
Yeah.
the doctors don't want you to be on it for any length of time, and as soon as they would take me off phentermine, I'd start to gain weight,
Mm.
and, they try to counsel me, and I understand. I forgot to tell you, I have a doctorate in educational leadership, and my master's is in research. I know all the stuff that's in the books, and I have done it before. I intellectually understand, but there was a
Yeah.
component of it that I couldn't get at, and thanks to your videos and listening to Dr. Dan and some of your other doctors you've had on, I'm understanding it more and more. But I knew there was something missing. So in 2007, when I was on phentermine, I lost all the weight, but
Mhm.
couldn't keep it off. And so I blossomed up again. In the meantime, my dad died in 2006. My mom died at the end of 2016.
Mm.
My sister died in summer of 2018.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And yeah, again, that grief emotional thing is triggered. And I vowed when my sister died I was going to lose weight because I wanted to be around. And she was only 2 years older than me, and always my big sister. And um, losing my mother and sister within 18 months, my confidants, my best friends, it was difficult. My husband is a good friend, but it's not the kind of women friends you need.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
different.
always I always relied on my family for that. Um, then I put all that weight back on. So in December of 2023, I overheard a conversation. I was in a choir. We were getting ready for a Christmas thing, and you can't walk away, and so you're kind of stuck there, and people are talking. And thank goodness I heard this conversation because the person who was talking was a man older like me, and he was going to take Manjaro.
Mhm.
And I said, "Wow, from what he's describing, that's exactly what I need." And I'd already talked to my doctor, who wasn't very supportive. She did prescribe Wegovy 2 months before this conversation.
Mhm.
Couldn't fill the prescription, couldn't get it covered, of course. I'm on
Mhm.
Medicare. And
Mhm.
so I just gave up on that. And so I'm listening to this guy talk, and finally I cornered him for a private conversation. And he says, "Well, there's a new drug out now, Zepbound. I'm on it. I've lost 40 pounds. He looked great." And so then I started to do my research. And the family ski trip in 2024, February of 2024, my husband looks at my daughter and says, "She's losing weight. This is my second daughter. She's in her 40s." And I was very happy. I didn't even notice. He notices, of course. And so I got her alone, and I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Well, I wasn't going to tell you, Mom, but I've been taking Zepbound since December." And I said, "I know all about Zepbound." I was kind of angry at that point because I really need this stuff. Here's my daughter who I love and respect.
Mhm.
And of course, hers is covered. But at this point, I was willing to pay any amount of money to get this. So she was using Sequence from Weight Watchers, and I
Mhm.
did the same. And I started on Zepbound. Of course, it was March 8th, 2024, when I took my first shot. And that's when all the shortages started to happen. And Tallahassee is not a big town. It's isolated. We're 2.5 hours from any major city.
Mhm.
So supply was a real problem. And that's when I decided to go on compound. And I went with Lavender Sky first. And then, am I allowed to say this? Am I allowed to
Sure.
say who I go?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And then I went with Amble because it was a little cheaper.
Mhm.
And my daughter was helping me, guiding me through this process because she'd been
Mhm.
on it for a few months. But I have to say, maybe it's just me, but within a few hours, I could tell the difference from my first
Mhm.
injection. It's amazing. Um, I used to say that food sings to me. that's my definition of food noise because
Ah,
I love
that's a
music and the food would sing this beautiful melody and just,
that's a
I
great
just go,
description.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I just had to eat it. I could not control it. And that was frightening to me because willpower and is not a problem for me, obviously, because of everything that I've accomplished. But
Mhm.
um, I'm not lazy either. I
Right.
continue to exercise even at my heaviest. I always walked. I
Mhm.
that was that was an important part of my life. I love to walk and those things. But when you've broken both your ankles at the same time, you're limited. After that, I broke my foot twice,
Oh,
chipped an ankle once. I mean, there were things that I could not do. I got my
yeah.
knees replaced in 2015, so that helped somewhat. But still the weight, I couldn't exercise enough to keep the weight off.
Mhm.
And even in 2018, when I lost that weight, that wasn't the solution.
Mhm.
So started with Zepbound. I was able to really control my diet, eat what I knew I needed to eat because the word I say diet, and I know that diet culture is a bad word now, but I knew what I had to do to lose weight, and that's what I did. And
Right.
without Zepbound, I couldn't have had the staying power to continue my journey. And I had all the support I needed from my family, so I was just banging away at it. And um, yeah, it's life changing. And I say it's not your body, it changes your brain because
Yeah.
little things like I was drinking wine every day. And after the fourth day on Zepbound, I gave it up.
Yeah.
I'm the last drink I had was October last year. It was a birthday celebration. Had one glass of wine and I didn't enjoy it that much. So since then, I say, I don't want it, because I know it helps
Mhm.
you gain weight. If you're looking for a reason to gain weight, that's the good one. But
Right.
I was junior grand champion baker when I was 15. I won an award at our county fair when I was
Oh, wow.
15 because I was
Uh-huh.
such a great baker. And so that was something else that was comforting. I could always feel at home in the kitchen. I love to bake. I started baking sourdough bread and different things in my early 20s. My grandchildren, when they come, they want my sourdough cinnamon rolls. I mean, people line
Mm,
up for it. It's so good. And that's the other thing. When you love to bake and you love to cook, you you enjoy food. And I do. And never had a problem with my appetite. Even on Zepbound, I was always able to eat. I
mm,
wasn't nauseated, the typical stuff, a little fatigue on the second day, some
yeah,
constipation, but it's all manageable.
right.
All those scary things that I was afraid of going into it. And of course, I'm 73 now. And I said, what are the long range things? And so instead of finding you guys, I went to research articles because both my daughters are college professors. Both of them have their doctorates.
Oh,
And
wow.
I could get all the literature I needed to read to learn about these drugs. And I did.
Mhm.
And I can't find anything that's bad. But the other problem is my physician is not supportive, and finding a doctor when you're on Medicare in this area is very difficult.
Hmm.
So I love Amble and Lavender Sky, but you're not really in touch with a doctor like you would be with seeing your primary care physician. And
Yeah.
I've tried to find another doctor. It's just not possible. And that's how I found you guys. I don't know why my feed, because I'm on YouTube all the time, and they never fed me anything from you folks until a couple weeks ago, and
Oh, interesting.
I watch your videos every day. I'm going back, I'm watching them. I watch them while I do my exercise. Now I don't walk as much in the winter. It's dark, so I got a rebounder, and I rebound every morning for 40 minutes. Not jumping, but just a health bounce. Very
Oh,
calm. Feet stay on the mat. Uh,
uh-huh.
Good form. Tighten everything up,
You hold
and then
on
that.
to the sides?
Yeah,
You
I have to because I
yeah,
have Meniere's disease, and so my balance is off. And
gotcha.
so I have to be careful. I have to hang on, and getting
Yeah.
on and off. I'm when you break bones, you have to be very careful about what you do. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I would
that's
think you need something that's totally non-impact,
yeah,
so that
yeah.
seems like it would be, and kind of fun too, right? Just
Oh,
to
it is. You just
yeah.
it I don't know how it happens, but you're in a good mood after 40 minutes of bouncing. And you can put music on, you can watch a video, you can even read if you wanted to, but you listen to an audio book. I
Mhm.
do a variety of things when I'm on the rebounder, and I get something that's going to last 40 minutes and I just go. And I do it every day. So it's a habit.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
I was able to develop some good habits.
that sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like a fun way to get your exercise in.
Yep.
So have you reached your goal weight now? Are you in maintenance?
Yes, I've been in maintenance since January 1st. I actually reached I, my first goal weight was 125, and I reached that at the end of October. And I said, I'm going to try and, you know, see if I can, get. I looked at myself and said, maybe I can lose some more. So I had a DEXA scan done, and
Mm, uh-huh.
that was a mistake because my person said, "Why are you on Zepbound?" And I got this lecture, and
Yeah.
of course, I love to hear that from people who are thin and obviously don't have a weight problem, are into
Right.
fitness and don't understand the whole thing that
Right.
happens when you're overweight. And so I swore I would never go back there, but I realized I was still 36% body fat at 125 pounds. So I
Yeah.
decided I would lose another 10. So I reached 115 at the end of December around Christmas time. I can't say I deprived myself over the holidays. If I wanted a cookie, I ate a cookie.
Yeah.
Um, I'm Polish. I made pierogies. I eat pierogies,
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
it's just something that for the first time in my life, I could make choices that
Yeah.
weren't restrictive and I didn't feel sorry for myself. That's what happens when you diet for a long time and you're depriving yourself. Your mentality says, oh, I'm just sick of this. And then you start to eat. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm 115. I try to stay between 112 and 115. I was able to do that all through this year. And so here it is, the end of May. And first time in my life, I've maintained a weight for 5 months. That tells you a lot. That's how much my weight fluctuates when I eat. So
Yeah.
I have to watch, but I don't feel I'm deprived. What I did instead of I went up to 10 on
Mhm.
Tirzepatide. Started at 2.5. That was 1 month. Went up to 5 for several weeks.
Mhm.
Um, when the weight loss slowed down, and I started hearing the food sing to me, I went up to 7.5. I was on that for the longest time. And then the last maybe 2, 3 months, I was on 10. So I tried going down to 7.5 for maintenance, giving myself a once a week injection, and that wasn't working. So I
Mm,
went back up to 10, and I'm still taking 10 once a week.
mm.
And I've been watching everything there is on maintenance. I've read everything there is on maintenance, and it's a work in progress. We don't have a lot of research on that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of staying the course at 10 once a week.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Do you count your calories or not really?
When I was losing, I used an app called Calorie. It's Calory, and
Mhm.
I kept track of my calories.
Mhm.
I kind of, because I'm a mathematician, I can keep in my mind the protein and number of carbs and everything. I never restricted myself too much on fruit because I love fruit.
Yeah.
I love dairy. I know you don't like cottage cheese, Lorraine, but I do. I love it.
That's
And
right.
I have cottage cheese every day, and I have a cup of non-fat Greek yogurt every day with fruit in it or whatever. And I eat 2 eggs every morning. I don't eat cereal anymore. That was always my go-to. And
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of bread. I find that drives my appetite too much. But
Hmm.
I do keep
Interesting.
my calories up. I cheat. I eat a pack of crackers every day with a probiotic soda. That's like drinking. Those are my treats. I call them my treats, and that
Yeah.
that keeps me satisfied. What's life if you can't enjoy something that you think is not not on your diet, as they
Yeah,
would say in the old
absolutely.
days? So yeah,
Absolutely.
and I
Do you
I increased my calories until I was able to stabilize my weight.
Gotcha. Do you keep track of protein grams? Like, do you have a protein target that you try to hit?
Yeah, I try to hit 60, and when I think I'm not, I only eat chicken. for a while there from in the 90s, I was a, vegetarian. I
Yeah.
ate eggs and dairy, but I didn't eat any meat, and I've
Mhm.
never been a big fan of meat.
Oh, interesting.
I just
Yeah.
never was, but now I eat chicken and salmon,
Okay.
and, I was a vegetarian, I got cancer anyway, I got fat
Uh,
anyway, so, I said, much as I love being a vegetarian because I love animals, I it wasn't working for me, so I do eat a little chicken and, salmon just to get the protein.
my sister's a vegetarian. She just never really liked meat. It's kind my
That's the way
daughter,
yeah,
same thing. It's never just doesn't really like meat. So, but it's great that you're getting your protein from other places like the cottage cheese and the Greek
yeah.
yogurt and, things like
There's a
that.
lot of protein in dairy, and,
Yeah.
it's for me, it's good for me. I know a lot of people can't tolerate dairy, and I understand that, but I've always been able to tolerate it, and I'm very comfortable eating it. It tastes good to me, and I love it, so I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
eating it.
That's that's good. Besides the wine, the wine suddenly just kind of turning off for you, did you notice
Mhm.
any other foods that maybe you liked now that you didn't before, or maybe vice versa? Anything else similar to that?
No, I was
No?
at my age well, I'm after the teenage years and my mother giving me celery sticks and carrots after school, I have
Yeah.
an aversion to celery and carrots. I don't really like raw vegetables, and,
I believe that. Yeah. I'm the kind of the same
I
way.
I'm not a big salad eater. We used to have a salad every day, but it would have like a creamy dressing on it or something else. And if you look at the dressings, that's what kills you on a salad.
Get you.
So I
Yeah.
don't eat a lot of salads.
Yeah.
And I don't like raw vegetables, so I'd rather cook my vegetables. I
Yeah.
love green beans. I love any of the legumes. I love broccoli cooked. I love all of those. I'll even eat cooked kale, but just don't give it to me in a salad.
Well, that's good.
I'll
So
eat
what do you cook for your husband? Does he eat what you're
yes.
eating? Yes.
Uh, I cook for my husband. He's 79 and is training for the Army 10 miler in October when he turns 80. So this man
Wow.
has never had a problem with weight, and he's very fit. And, so I do have to watch what I feed him. He will lose weight if I don't keep the calories coming, and he's pretty
Yeah.
good. He likes nuts and, he supplements his diet with lots of things, but I always cook for him. Sometimes I'll eat the same thing. If we're having salmon, I'll eat it, but I'll always
Mhm.
cook vegetables for me and he'll have a salad. I
Yeah.
when I was a vegetarian, I sometimes cooked 3 different things for dinner because the kids were still there and, I'm used to that. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess he needs more carbs too with all that running.
yes, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever wanna run with him, or did he ever, like,
Yeah, I
you know
ran I ran, and that was the only time in my life that I was able to eat a lot of bread, as much bread as I wanted. I was running 40 miles a week. It
wow.
was summer, that I was teaching in high school at the time, so I had the summer off and I had free time as soon as school started and it started to get dark in the mornings. I had to give that up and the weight started to come back on.
Mhm.
I also ruined my knees, which is why I got my knees replaced in 2015. So,
Yeah.
um, running for me was not the answer. And I got to tell you, as you age, stuff will happen. You know, um,
Yeah.
the knee replacement set me back. I couldn't exercise as much,
Yeah.
and got my gallbladder out in 2023. That
Huh.
sets you back, and
Hmm.
so um, as you age, stuff will happen, whether you want it to or not, and as a result, you cannot stay on track like you would like. So um, being thinner helps me. I can Zepbound, it's not so much it stops me from eating, it stops me from craving. And, I now
Yeah.
understand I have a primal brain that is what drives my, appetite for
Yeah.
sweets and different things,
Yeah. At
you
the end
you
of the
you
world, we will survive.
yeah.
Our brains
Yep,
will drive us to find that
that's right.
food, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and, you've always known what you were supposed to eat, right? Through
Yes. Mhm.
all the research and all the different Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, all the things. We've always
Mhm.
known what
Yes.
a portion looked like and what we were supposed to eat. It was just, you know,
Yeah, and
hearing the song of the
that
food and being unable to stop ourselves from going for
Mm.
more. So,
And that's what
yeah.
bugs me about the medical community. I'd go to the doctors and she goes, "Use a smaller plate." I coulda
Okay.
I've been doing that since I was 13. I know that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm a mature woman who has been, and I tell her this, and it's like I just visited and she says, "You can't lose any more weight." Well, I know that. I said, "I've been maintaining since January." And she goes, "You can't lose any more weight." And finally, she was getting up to leave the room, and I said, "Aren't you gonna listen to my heart? I mean, this is my 6-month appointment, you know?" So,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm getting the medical care that I deserve, and, I'm in search of a good doctor. I don't know, maybe you folks can help me with that, but, we can maybe have a private conversation about that, because
Yeah,
I do need to find an obesity specialist in my area that will listen to me and,
yeah.
help guide me through the rest of my, life as I journey through this, which is always going to be my weight loss journey.
Tallahassee, isn't that where Florida State aren't you near
Yes,
Florida State?
yes, yep,
Uh,
and we're big Florida State fans. My husband's an alum. My
oh,
older
okay.
daughter, that's where she got her doctorate, and, she's on faculty. So, yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
nice. Okay.
love FSU. We have 2 universities here. We have FAMU
Yeah.
and FSU. It's just very difficult. We lived in Melbourne, Florida for 11 years, and it was
Mhm.
near Patrick Air Force Base. My husband's retired military, and
Oh,
so we used the clinic there. And as much as I didn't like running you through the clinic,
mhm.
at least there were a variety of doctors and lots of other things that were useful. And
Yeah.
we moved to Tallahassee. I was shocked. It took
Hmm.
me, over a month to find a doctor, and that was 30 miles away that would
Wow.
take our insurance. And
Wow.
then, once I got on Medicare, I found a doctor that I liked. He left the practice and, had another doctor. She left the practice, couldn't go because of my insurance, and I ended up with this doctor that I have now. And I have tried, recommendations from other people, and I call and they say, "Well, we need a referral." And I'm thinking, "How can I get a referral from my doctor if I'm"
I don't want her to know that I'm going
Yeah,
to another
really,
doctor.
I don't 'cause
How's that
they
work?
do I think they write things in your chart. I don't care what anybody says, but I just don't have a this is not a working relationship for me.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, it's
um
really hard. I mean, it's really, and Christopher says all the time, "Well, if you don't like your doctor, find another doctor." But it's hard. I
mhm,
mean, it's
it
hard to
is.
find a doctor that will listen to you, that you like, that takes your insurance, that is near
Mhm.
your home. So, yeah, I guess
I just added a link to our website to the Obesity Medicine Association. You can search for obesity questions.
did you hear that?
Thank you. Yes, I did. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, all right, awesome. Yeah, because 'cause we've talked to a couple of obesity medicine doctors, on our show, and there are some, websites that can help you. And I would
Right.
think, being close to Florida State, there would be more around the university that might be able to help, but, there's a lot of things you have to
Yeah.
take into consideration there.
Right. We're relatively new residents. We've been here 10 years, but this is a town, with a lot of people who are fifth generation Tallahasseans, and they're proud to
Oh.
say that. You're in the South, you know. I
I didn't know anybody lived
it's
in Florida that long. I didn't know anybody was
but
actually from Florida.
oh,
Just kidding.
Tallahassee, it's beautiful. We have the live
Yeah.
oaks with the moss hanging. The weather's
Mhm.
great. People are very kind, sweet Southerners, and but we're not established, so it's hard to find doctors.
You've
And
been there 10 years, my
I think it's
goodness.
more, yeah, I know. It's harder for women, especially, uh,
Yeah,
women on Medicare.
yeah,
So, where some doctors would be happy that I lost 93 pounds and, e extended
yeah,
my life. I mean, when I first started, my Renfro scale said, I was, like, around 79 years old. Now I'm 68, kinda like that, but I know it's just a number on the scale, and who knows how they calculated it, but
yeah,
numbers mean a lot to me, and I check every day what is, a percent of fat, what's my And because I have 2 artificial knees, my bone mass looks great because when it passes the electrical
Oh.
current through your legs, it's hitting metal, and so it thinks, "Hey, really dense bone there." But yeah, it's
It's funny.
kind of misleading because that backs everything off of that. So I know my fat probably isn't right, percent, but
Yeah. Well,
my husband says, "You don't have any extra fat on you," and he likes that because he wants me to be around for a long time, and I
of
do
course.
too, so
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
happy with what I'm doing.
When you were, losing weight, do you know your average weight loss per week?
Yeah, it was of course, the first month I lost like 10 pounds, and a lot of that is water weight, but that was typical. I'd done that before,
Yeah.
and, it went down to, like, between 1.5 and 2, more like 1.5 near the end, 1 to
Yeah,
1.5. The longer
yeah,
you go, the less you have to lose, the slower the weight loss goes, and that
exactly.
is an important aspect that you have to remember. You also have to remember that as you get smaller, you need fewer calories. So you may think you're at a calorie deficit. You were when you started, but if you've lost 50 pounds, you have to recalculate your
Yeah,
TDEE. So, those are all aspects of it. Intellectually, I understand all that.
yeah.
And I could teach a course on that, but it's just, it's, I can't tell you what a life changer Zepbound has been. And it's not because I'm thin, it's because it's changed my brain. It helps me control lots of things. When you're paying out of pocket for your medicine, something else has got to go when you're retired. And so I'm more able to, you know, spend more wisely. It's just amazing. It changes your life. It really does.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's amazing. How did your daughter do? Did she lose what she wanted to lose?
Uh, she's still working at it, and I
Mhm.
understand she's a mother. She started her journey when she was getting her doctorate.
Wow.
So I know that she's doing it much more slowly because it's paid for, and she can relax and enjoy it. And so she's still working at it, but she looks great, and
Okay.
she's happy. So that's the thing that's most important to me.
That's great. It's interesting to me, when you started talking about your journey, talking about the teacher that was mean in the 2nd grade, and then you went on to become a teacher.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
my very favorite math teacher, loved him. I tell everyone he's my favorite teacher. He was very mean to some kids, and
mhm.
my sister was one of them. She cried every night over her math homework,
Oh,
and
no.
I said, "Oh, that's not good." But he was a good teacher for me because he opened up math for me, and I knew in high
Mm,
school that I was gonna major in math, and I never wavered from that. And y with the bad teachers, you learn what not to do,
mm.
and I have to say I love teaching. My husband coined the term "meecher," mother teacher, and so that's the way I taught my high school kids. I was the meecher, and I wrote my dissertation on the meecher theory of leadership. I don't
Ah,
expect anybody to read it, but it involves a lot of different leadership styles, but I do a lot of mothering. It's important to me to
mhm.
nurture people, and I think, as a teacher, that's what works best for me.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that, the meacher.
Mhm.
I love that. That's great. So I guess you had to, like, completely get all new clothes. You probably hadn't really
Yep.
ever been this size for
Well, I was for yeah,
a
20
long time.
20 years probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've moved, we moved in 2004. We moved in 2015, so, when you do that, you purge,
Yeah.
and then, I was up to, like, a size 22, um and so I immediately, knew I had to size down. So I would buy a few items, and finally, halfway through, I purged a whole big thing at Goodwill. They got to look like somebody had died, and I was cleaning out a closet. But somebody did die. The old me died.
The old you
Um,
died,
and
right.
I'm now going to do a final purge. I had a lot of winter clothes because we went on a ski trip. Don't need a lot of winter clothes in Tallahassee, but
Yeah.
the other thing is you're always cold,
Yeah.
when you've lost weight, so I s I have a lot of winter clothes, a lot of sweaters, a lot of thermal shirts. I mean, I wear jeans every day. I don't own shorts. So I'm trying to decide if I should spend any money on summer clothes, if I'm going to be cold all the time. So,
Well, you do live
the
in
funny,
Florida, so maybe.
I
Maybe.
I'm in the choir at church, and I put my robe on before I go to church. So I have the same robe I had when I weighed over 200 pounds. So
Oh,
nobody really sees me until choir rehearsal when I go in jeans, and it's a shock to people. And of course, people who have only known you fat
right.
think that you're sick when you're my age, and so
Oh,
everybody's afraid to say anything. And yeah, it I see people looking at me and I'm thinking, what are they thinking? I don't, and they're afraid to say anything. And then, like
have you
yesterday, I
told them?
went to
Yes.
the orthopedic doctor yesterday, and a
Uh-huh.
very sweet PA. Um, I told her I'd lost 93 pounds, and she goes, "How?" And I said, "Well, I'm on Zepbound. I don't tell people. I mean, it's just my immediate family.
Right.
My closest friends, the women in the small group that I lead, don't even know that I'm on this medication because we talked
Oh,
about it before I started, and, a couple said, I'd like more information on that," and for the life of me, I can't tell them because there's such judgment. Um, I'm just afraid they will probably embrace it, but they'll tell somebody else who doesn't, and then, people talk. I'm
yeah.
I'm an introvert, and I observe rather than get into conversations, and so I'm always
Mhm.
wondering, what are they thinking? Should I say something? No, I'll keep it to myself. So I don't
Well, I mean,
I'm hoping that I can help people with this video, but I don't know
yeah,
that I'll share it with
for
my
sure.
friends.
Well, and I think if I remember at the beginning of our conversation, you overheard someone talking about it, and that's what
Yes.
led you to it.
Yes. Yep.
So, you might, if you ever decide to share your story, you might be helping someone, and you're
Yeah.
certainly sharing it here and helping people
Yes.
here, and that's really hard. I guess my mom is 79, so she's a few years older than you, but maybe that same
Yeah.
generation. And when
Mhm.
I told her about it, she was kind of like,
Yeah.
and this was the
Mhm.
woman who had put me on a diet from age 10, and we went to Weight
Mhm.
Watchers together, and
Yeah.
the celery sticks and the carrots and,
Mhm.
that whole thing. And she was very reluctant to be supportive. And I still think she kind of views it as, well, can't you eventually get off of that medicine someday? And I'm like, well, no, mom, it's kind of, for life. It's
Yeah.
if I stop taking
Yeah.
it, the weight will
If
come
you
back. So I'm gonna be
Yeah.
on it. She's like,
Yeah.
well, okay. But she really likes
Mhm.
the result, right? She
Yeah.
really is happy with my weight
Happy for
loss. So
you. Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
it's just a matter
Mhm.
of more people learning about it, more people knowing someone personally who has lost the weight on this medication. And there is a lot of judgment, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of
There is.
they're like, "Ooh, yee," sometimes I
Yeah.
tell people at the
Like
gym and they're
you're
like, "Ee."
Oh, I don't even go to the gym. After being fat so many years, I've tried, I can't. The judgment, you're being judged no matter what people say. Um, yeah, and, I overheard somebody at choir say about this person that, I overheard, "Oh, he's
Mhm.
cheating." It is for
Right,
the love for the love of
right.
everything holy, it is not cheating. Um,
It's not.
it is, it changes your brain, and that's the only
Right.
way I can describe it. And of course, people say, "Do you wanna do that?" Is it like are you addicted, and, no, I'm not
Well, and I
addicted.
think it's very hard to describe to a skinny person, a naturally
Yeah.
thin person, the song of the food, the food noise
Yeah,
that we hear, because they
yeah,
don't hear that. They don't get it.
right.
And
Yep,
to try to explain that is really difficult, to say the least. So, and I just explain it to people like, my brain just drives me to search for food 24/7. And
mhm,
when I take this medication, I don't.
right.
I can eat
Yeah,
3 meals a day, and maybe sometimes I eat when I'm hungry. What a concept.
I didn't even have the concept of food noise until I watched Oprah's special in
Me
March of
too.
2024.
Yeah.
didn't know it had a name. And so that food singing to me was food noise, and I didn't. That's a technical name, and I know a lot of people don't understand it because they don't have it. But a lot of people aren't diabetic either, but they understand that there's a problem here, and you got to treat it.
Right.
Um,
Just like high
yeah,
cholesterol or high blood
yeah,
pressure, people take
yeah,
medicines for that.
yeah,
We have the disease of obesity and we take Zepbound
yeah,
for this. So,
that's right.
yeah,
And
it's
someday it will be a pill, or it will be one shot a month, or even
yeah,
one shot a year. We don't know because there's so much research happening. Research costs money, and that's why I tell myself they have to charge what they do for these drugs, because they're new and they're doing research, and
yeah.
it's life changing research. And uh, I just I see people and I say, there is an answer. When my daughter told me, she was on it, she goes, "Mom, just think, there won't be any more fat people in the world." And I said, "You're such a blessing, such a good heart." And
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
if kids didn't have to grow up like we grew up being on diets or being
yeah,
constantly, how wonderful would that
yeah,
be? So yeah,
and yeah,
someday.
someday. And I I'm I thank God I've lived this long to be able to see this and be able to experience this. When you're a cancer survivor, you
Mm,
don't know. And
yeah,
I was pretty much healthy. I only had high cholesterol. I couldn't have qualified for this drug. I wasn't even pre-diabetic. I don't have high blood pressure.
yeah,
Technically, I am a healthy person. I take cholesterol medicine and that's it. And
yeah.
so people say, well, then you don't need it. You're taking medicine away from diabetics, and we're not.
We're
They're
not.
manufacturing enough to treat all of us. And
Right.
there's the iffiness of the compound, and I'll see where that goes. I have a stockpile. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Me too. Yeah, me
and
too.
and then if push comes to shove, my husband says, "We'll find a doctor for a prescription, and we'll pay full price for it." And I have to say, I'm on Reddit and read all kinds of things from people who don't have the support of their spouse or their
Mm,
parents or their
yeah,
siblings, and it's heartbreaking. You really need support from the people you love the most and that you live with. And
absolutely.
he's been fantastic. And he
Aw.
wasn't always like that. My daughter convinced him. She said, "Dad, I got to tell you something." And she'd already told me, and I said, "Don't you have something to tell your dad?" And he listened for 5 minutes, and he goes, "I'm all for it." So, I mean, it's
Aw,
just that 5 minutes of rational conversation about what this can do, and
yeah,
it convinces even the people that say, "Oh, eat less, move more." And I wish I could convince my physician, but it's not gonna happen. And that's the other thing I wanted to do this video for. It's to
mhm,
inform and hope that uh, more in the medical community will embrace this, because wouldn't it be
yeah,
great if you could go to your family doctor and they could guide you through this process and say, "I just read this article, I think this will work for you," but they don't, or at least mine
yeah,
doesn't. And
yeah. Mine
that's
doesn't
my
either.
other hope, is that the medical community who are treating people every month, every 6 months, every year, and watching their weight get out of control could help them. And all of the things that they tell you might work temporarily, but it for certain people will not work forever. And
Yeah,
that's what this has done for me.
yeah. Well, that's amazing. That's great. Um, I guess just to wrap it up, I mean, do you have any final words for someone who maybe is thinking about starting a GLP-1
Yeah.
medication?
Mhm. Um, Educate yourself. That's very important. I use some apps that I find very helpful. I have the Renfro scale that I think you folks have too.
Mhm.
Love it, love it. I had the Weight Watchers scale first, which is the same model, but when I quit Weight Watchers, they took my data away. And to a mathematician and a statistics teacher, I'm very mad about that. But
Oh,
I got
oh,
over it. So my statistics, my data from the early 2-3 months of my journey, I don't have. But I went back and re-entered some. I have Shotzi. It's a really neat app. You can enter your shot every week, how much, and it gives you an approximation of how much is still in your body. So if you're starting
Yeah.
to hear the food noise, I think it's going to be helpful for people who say, "Oh, when should I take another shot?" If you need, if it's not just feelings you want to go by and you need a number to look at, Shotzi will tell you, and I love that app. I also have Happy Scale.
Yeah.
It I know. Okay. I weigh myself every day and I know they talk you out of this. That's not good. I was weighing myself twice a week. And if it went up, I didn't know when it went up, why
Yeah.
it went up. And I need, because I'm a mathematician and a statistician, I need that data to
Right.
be able to, and Happy Scale gives you a moving average. And that's why I love it, because if you're in your range, you're safe. And I enter data every day. So,
Yeah.
and
I'm a daily weigher.
yeah, my husband always insisted that's how he keeps his weight. It's how he maintains his weight. He weighs every
And
day.
running 10 miles doesn't
Yep.
hurt either.
Yeah. And so he never overeats. I used to say he could stop drinking beer and eating dessert, and he'd lose 10 pounds in less than a month. And it worked for him, and still does. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's different. People are different, and everybody's journey is
Right.
different. I don't want people to think, "Oh, she's lost 93 pounds." I'm like, that's only a number. What it has done is changed how I view food. It's changed my relationship with food and how I view myself. I went to the orthopedic doctor yesterday, and I'm concerned about muscle loss, because let's face
Yeah.
it, I've probably lost it all before and all the other weight loss schemes that I was on. And so she did some testing, and she goes, "You got plenty of muscle." So
Oh,
I don't
good.
I don't need don't need the DEXA scan to tell me what my percent of muscle is. She was very happy. So
Well,
um,
very good. Very good.
that's all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, that's great. Well, thank you, Diane, for joining us today. If anyone out there would like to come beyond the Downsized Dish and tell us about your story, you can send
Yep.
me an email to Laraine@thedownsized.org. Just say, "Hey, Laraine, I want to be on the Downsized Dish." And I'll be like, "Cool,
Yep.
here's the link. Sign up."
Yeah.
It's
I
just
have to
setting.
I have to thank you so much for what you
Oh,
do. It's been so helpful for me, and you are doing a great service to all of
oh,
us. And
thank
I
you.
hope I hope more people start to follow you, because you're doing wonderful work. God bless you.
Well, thank you. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much. I really enjoy talking to people, and when Christopher and I decided to start this channel, I said, "Well, I feel I could talk about weight loss now every day
Mhm.
until until the end, right? Because my whole
Yep.
life I've just been trying desperately to find something that
Mhm.
works, and now this works, and I want to tell
Tell the
everybody about
world.
GLP-1.
And
So
I'm grateful for that, because as you said, I don't tell people, but I overheard a conversation, and that's what started it. So hopefully
yeah.
somebody will land on your YouTube videos, and it will change their life too.
That's what I hope for also. Well, thank you, Diane. Thanks for coming on today. Stay warm in sunny Florida. And
I'm 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 on my porch, and at my over 200 pounds, I couldn't have been sitting out here without perspiring greatly. And look at me, I have a scarf on.
scarf on. Now you're cold. Well, maybe you'll save on some air conditioning bills there, if nothing else,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
always
good.
that's always nice.
Well, good. Well, thanks. I hope everybody out there will like and subscribe to The Downsized. And I guess that's it. So thanks for joining us. I'm Laraine Durham for The Downsized. See you next time.